In studio by the legend, George Lopez. He's here in Detroit, and he's here in Detroit not just for his own good. He's here for your own good,
That's
Lions
right.
fans.
I'm never anywhere for my own good.
He is here to help lift the curse of Bobby Layne. First of all, George, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning, gentlemen. You know, I grew up very superstitious. My grandmother was superstitious, and she passed them on, which I think happens in families. They pass them on to the children and grandchildren.
Yeah.
And then I started to realize that, I couldn't talk to a girl unless my money clip was in my left pocket. And I thought, what's all this? So I sold a show, and I'm here in Detroit. I'm actually at Joe Louis on Saturday with Cedric and D.L. Hughley and Eddie Griffin.
One of the last events at Joe Louis Arena.
Man, listen, I don't know, in another life I might have been a ticket taker at Tiger Stadium. I might have been some a delivery guy during the riots. I don't know.
You worked the line.
I worked the line.
Yeah.
I could have worked the line. But listen, as a Mexican, if this is where the Chevys come from and this is where the Monte Carlo and the Impala came from, this is really the holy grail for me.
Now, you said you're superstitious based on your grandmother.
Absolutely.
Now, what are some, I mean, you mentioned your money clip. Are there other things like before you go out on stage, is there a certain thing you drink, certain thing you eat? Are you really, do you take it into your everyday life?
Everyday life. I have to tie my shoes. I have to double knot my shoes. I have to wear a certain kind of sock, and no one can come in 15 minutes before the show. Zero. If they do, it's a whole different.
Is that superstitious or is that OCD?
Well, you know, it's interesting because there is a fine line, I think, between superstition and OCD. But I'm going to say, for the sake of the show and the success of the show, maybe the next one I'll sell is comedians who are OCD. I'm going to say superstitious because, you know, my grandmother had them. If a bird landed on the windowsill, somebody was going to die. If you looked at a baby dead on, you had to touch them, or the baby would have bad luck. If you cut your hair on a full moon, everybody knows, because you got Greek town here, you have Mexican town, you have all the towns, Polish town. So everybody knows that culturally it's vast. And we've been going to city. So coming to Detroit, I knew that there was a curse that the Detroit Lions had on them, and we thought, what better way to try than to try to help the Lions.
Now, we know you're a big sports fan, so you know what sports means to a city, particularly a city like Detroit.
Absolutely.
And nothing's bigger than the Lions here in this town. And yes, 1957, Bobby Layne, the legendary quarterback, was traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he put a curse on the Lions. He said they won't win for 50 years. Well, we're now at 58.
They've won one playoff game since 1957. They've hosted 2 playoff games.
Now, there's all sorts of weird things that go on with this curse. My personal, I don't want to say favorite, because there's some tragedy involved in the curse as well, but the curse lasted 50 years, and in the 50th year of the curse, the Lions went 0-16. They're the only team ever to go 0-16. Yeah. And after that, they got the number 1 overall pick the following year in the draft, and they drafted Matthew Stafford, who went to the same high school as Bobby Layne.
Oh my God!
So that just goes on and on and on.
What are some of the tragic things that have happened behind the curse?
Here we go. Stoney
I have a list because I believe this team has been so inept, but I don't think it's their fault. I believe in the curse of Bobby Layne. This team is cursed,
and there's been some good Lions team as well.
Yes.
Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson.
Barry Sanders. What other team, their best player, probably in history, leaves in his career by faxing his hometown newspaper? In 1974, the Lions finally got a coach who won a Super Bowl, Don McCafferty, hired in 1973. Before he coached the game, he died in 1974 of a heart attack. Chuck Hughes, 1971, the only player in NFL history to die on the field during a game.
I remember that.
How about 1970? They're playing the New Orleans Saints. They're leading 17-16. They're going to win this game. In comes this kicker for the Saints. He's got stub hand and a half a foot.
Yes.
He kicks a 63-yard field goal to win the game. This happens only against the Lions. They make the playoffs. 1970. They lose a game 5-0. A playoff game 5-0. And Jamie talked about the tragedies. 1991, Mike Utley, the good offensive lineman, he gets paralyzed, the thumbs up. During that same offseason, another one of his teammates, an offensive lineman, Eric Andelsek, who was an alternate in the Pro Bowl that year, young player.
He was an outstanding player.
Yeah, he was cutting his lawn in Louisiana, which was near a road. A drunk driver, a truck driver, goes into his property, runs him over, kills him. He's dead. I mean, and Reggie Brown.
Yeah.
Remember that one, Jamie?
Yeah, injured on the field in the last game of the season in 1997. The same game that Barry Sanders went up over 2,000 yards. George, you need any more?
Stoney, no, I was going to try to talk you down.
That's unbelievable.
It's more than enough. Yeah, so
it's a curse.
So it is a curse, and we're trying to dispel, or maybe they are true and it is cursed. So, does anybody know who Bobby Layne said that to? Did he just say it in the paper? Did he say it to a human being?
I believe he just said it to the press,
Yeah,
right?
okay.
He goes, the Lions won't win for 50 years. I don't think he ever said, I'm cursing the team the way like the Billy Goat with Chicago Cubs.
Right.
But I did think he said they're not going to win for 50 years, and lo and behold, they haven't won for 50 years.
So what I want to do is, because of the show, I'd like to know from Detroit and all the sports fans, which is an amazingly incredible sports town, of course, how I can help. And everything is available to me. I want to help lift the curse of the Lions.
All right. So we're talking to George Lopez. The new show is Very Superstitious with George Lopez. He's going around the country and investigating and trying to end these superstitions in different situations. He's here in Detroit to lift the curse of Bobby Layne. If you're a Lions fan who believes in the curse, or you think there's something George can do to help lift the curse, 248-539-9797 is our telephone number. We're also broadcasting on Facebook Live right now as well. Let's go to the phones. Talk to John in Macomb here on 97.1 The Ticket. John, you're on with George Lopez. What's up, John?
Thank you guys for having me. Very fine program. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Listen, George, thank you so much for coming to town to try and fix the Detroit Lions. Now, you guys just listed off a list of tragedies. There is a long list of embarrassing moments with these Detroit Lions. You guys know one of the most revered coaches, Wayne Fonts. Everybody reveres him. Obviously got arrested a couple of times for drugs. And then after he's done, comes back and sues the Detroit Lions for damages, saying that because of, wear and tear and things like that, he can no longer coach. Obviously thrown out, but there's a lineage and a long list of embarrassing moments with these Detroit Lions.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. If you could sue somebody for using drugs and alcohol, the fact that it got thrown out, I'm not going to do it. But if he had been successful, I think I was going to file lawsuits today.
George, let me tell you, this fine program that you're on is trying to do anything to help the Lions get better. I do a podcast with my cousin Adam, and it's not as great as this fine program that you're on, but we rant and rave week in, week out about these Detroit Lions. It's so frustrating being a fan of the worst organization in the history of sports.
Okay, I want to invite you. I want to invite you to the ceremony where we will lift the curse of the Lions. Okay, I want to invite you to the ceremony. And bring your cousin Adam.
Listen, George, it might not just take you. I mean, your efforts alone might not be powerful, because I think the entire state of Michigan and any Lions fan has prayed to God to do anything to lift this curse. And it might take you, all your friends that are coming for the tour. It might take the entire nation. And this might need to be an international effort to try and fix this Detroit Lions.
Maybe intergalactic, John.
Intergalactic as well. It might take, things that we have never even thought of to try and lift this curse.
Are you a Lions? You're clearly a Lions fan?
I'm a diehard. I've watched every single snap of every single game since 1991, and I'm suffering. That's what we are.
Has anything bad happened to you where you would blame it on necessarily maybe you were a Lions fan and something happened to you? Maybe your car didn't start in the parking lot or something went on?
Yeah, my blood pressure goes over 200 every single Sunday when the game is over, because I'm not a fan that just sits on my hands. I'm a fan that's, pacing back and forth, cursing, the current head coach, Jim Caldwell, for not being able to get 11 guys on the field. I'm cursing to the high heavens, and I'm sitting here watching going, please, my goodness, this is not what a professional football team does.
All right, thanks, John, for the phone call. Now, 248-539-9797 is the telephone number. The ticket text, 97136. George Lopez is here.
Let me ask you guys something. Interrupt you. I'm sorry, Jim.
No, it's all right.
What would it mean to you guys and to Lions fans, and what would it mean to the city of Detroit itself to lift this curse?
Well, if the Lions actually got to a Super Bowl, or even won a playoff game again, well, if they got to a Super
Let's
Bowl,
start with winning a playoff game.
Winning a playoff game would answer a lot of questions for about a lot of players like Matthew Stafford. He can't win a playoff game, but if they got to a Super Bowl, this city would be euphoric.
Amazing.
People would, the Cubs and all that, we understand what happened there. People would be crying. There are people who honestly believe that they will never, and I mean never, see this team in the Super Bowl their entire lives.
It would change the course of the history of the city.
Over a million.
I really do.
We had almost 2 million people at a Stanley Cup celebration.
Yeah.
It would dwarf it.
Yeah, no, it would be unbelievable. And there would be so many stories to go along with the whole curse storyline of sons going to their father's graves,
Right.
of daughters going to their mother's graves, because so many people have said they never won in my lifetime. They haven't won in my lifetime. This is a generational thing, much like the Cubs and the Red Sox.
Yeah.
This is a totally and as you know, I have young kids. Our producer Tom has young kids. You almost don't want your kid to become a Lions fan because you know that you're leading them towards a lifetime of pain and hurt.
But
So
you have
that's,
this belief that one day it's going to happen and the suffering is going to be worth it.
All right, George Lopez is here. He wants to hear from you, Lions fans. 248-539-9797. We'll take more of your calls coming up next. It's Jamie and Stoney on 97.1 The Ticket.
97.1
Jamie and Stoney show on 97.1 The Ticket on a Wednesday. We are joined in studio by the great George Lopez.
Thank you, Jamie. You know, just to, again, explain why I'm here. I'm here today on The Ticket to try to help the Lions and Detroit and sports fans all around the country lift the curse of Bobby Layne.
It's a wonderful thing you're doing. You're doing it for the people of Detroit.
Yes.
You know, the superstitions affect all of our lives, some good and some negative. But I don't think, especially now because the Cubs have won, that this Bobby Layne curse and the curse of the Detroit Lions should be national news.
It doesn't get enough play. Like, there's no 30 for 30 on ESPN on the Lions.
Absolutely.
And there should be.
Because there are Lions fans all around the country, like you said, Jamie, people who have lived in past and have never seen success from the Lions. And that's why I'm here in Detroit, to help lift this curse.
And you also understand, I think, because you're a big sports fan, what a team means to a city.
Yes.
And what success can mean to a city. And Detroit's had it rough. I mean, we've had a rough go. Things are coming back a little bit. But there's no doubt that a championship would...
A
Lions championship would be such an unbelievable
thing.
thing.
Stoney, like you said, there would be people in the streets. There would be people out of school. There would be kids out of school.
Schools.
And what that does is, I think chemically, like you just in the universe, it resets everybody. Now you're in Detroit. Now you're happy. Now the Lions, you have the parade. You know, we've seen the Tigers do it. The Red Wings are amazing. And now it's time for the Lions to take their place nationally as champions. And I heard about the Silverdome Stadium with no roof on it.
It's pretty. It was in one of the Transformers movies.
Yeah, it's going to be demolished.
It doesn't look good.
It's not a good look. Also, I may say that I came a few years ago back when when Old Tiger Stadium, which is really like a centerpiece of baseball, was torn in half. So half of it was still up, and it's not a good look for Detroit. Detroit is a better city than that. Now the people are great. They work hard. And now it's time to
lift that curse.
Lift that curse.
Now, if you want to, there is going to be an exorcism, I believe, on Thursday, which will take part. You're going to take some dirt from the old Tiger Stadium where the Lions used to play.
Yes.
And if you want to take part in that, you can contact George's people at DetroitisVerySuperstitious@gmail.com or call 818-392-4269. Now, we have some non-believers out there, George. We have some people who don't think you can pull this off.
Okay.
You want to hear from them?
Are they relatives of mine? Because
No, well, they might be. Let's go to Martin from Wixom on 97.1 The Ticket. What's up, Martin?
Hey, what's up, baby?
What's up, Marty?
A couple things. Okay, just hear me out. One, we haven't had a successful coach come to Detroit and coach anywhere else. That's another jinx.
Oh,
that's true.
Any
coach who's ever been fired from the Lions has never gone on to coach another NFL team.
That's why I'm here.
The curse is so bad. We're like the Karate Kid 3. I want them to suffer some more. This is the sorriest team, the sorriest organization. We will never win. I'm telling you. I don't care what kind of abracadabra spirits you bring up. We will never win. We are the sorriest team. We've been through crap. This team, these fans, we get there, we watch them, we love them, and then we get our heart broken. It's worse than getting your heart broken by the hottest chick in school, because that's what they've done to us fans, that we got to sit there and watch it on Sunday and take it on everybody because they lost, because they suck.
But
they've never done anything to make us happy.
But that's why Martin. That's why George is here to help lift.
George is not going to do it. I'm telling you, there is nothing.
You don't know the power of George.
There is no power. We suck. We're the sorriest team, guys. You guys got to get this through your head.
Okay,
we will never win.
Okay, so let's just say in the perfect world that this happens, your attitude would improve. You wouldn't be the same guy right now with such negativity, would you?
Hell no, we wouldn't. Not any fan. Let me tell you something. You bring a trophy to this world, Michigan, for the Lions winning a trophy here, the Lombardi Trophy, this place will have everybody from the state in downtown celebrate.
That's right.
That's how big that crowd will be.
George will be back for the parade.
Well, you know, I got to tell you, my work is cut out for me because I never realized that a coach that coached the Lions has never coached anywhere else.
Yeah.
So when you come here and if you get fired, that's it for you. Now my work is really going to be difficult because that's almost unheard of.
I want
to correct one thing that Martin said, though. He said it's like getting turned down by the hottest girl in school. No, to get turned down by the hottest girl in school, you have to get to that level.
Right.
We've been turned down by the ugliest girl in school. We haven't even gotten to like the middle class of school. Bill in Detroit, you're on with George Lopez on 97.1 The Ticket. Hey, Bill.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good.
Good. Hey, George, listen, when I was 12 years old, my dad took me to every home game of the 1957 Lions. And when the championship game came up, he said, listen, son, he says, I'm going to take your mother to the championship game, but I'll take you to the next one. Oh. George, I'm 72 years old. I need some help here.
Come on, man. That's rough. That's rough. You know what? I'm gonna help it out. We have some amazing things planned. We have we're gonna try to do an exorcism. We got a lot of symbolic things happening, and just we're trying to change the energy of the line. But I feel your pain, and I'm sorry that the life turned out for you like that as a fan.
All right, let's speaking of the exorcism, let's now go to a pastor who has called in. Pastor David Bullock is joining us now. You're on with George. Oh, hold on a sec. I made a mistake here.
Pastor Dave.
Pastor Dave is joining us now here on 97.1 The Ticket. Pastor Dave, welcome. You got George Lopez here. What's going on?
Hey, good morning. Hey, George. Hey, guys. It's great to be on The Ticket.
Thanks.
Look, I was listening to the show, and I'm saying to myself, we need to change the energy. We need to change the atmosphere. You know, the good book says the power of life and death is in the tongue.
Okay.
We've got to do something about the words. I believe Detroit is a blessed city. I believe the Lions is a blessed team. We've got to get the curse, the residue of the negativity of Bobby Layne's words off of the team. And so the city and the state of Michigan and all the Lions fans, folks like myself, can rejoice. Look, George, I want to help. I want to be a part of this exorcism. I want to be a part of lifting this curse. I want those folks who are saying, the Lions will never win, we'll never see it, it will never happen. I want them to be pleasantly surprised when victory comes to the Detroit Lions and comes to the city of Detroit.
Now, Pastor, negative vibes probably attract negative vibes. So we need to change the attitude from a little bit. I mean, I understand how negative and how disappointed the fans are, but I believe that a positive attitude creates a positive action, right?
That's right. Look, it's the power of we. It's the faith of the fans. Look, it's the excitement, the energy, and the momentum of people like you and me. We call them believers, right? You got to believe to achieve. You got to aim high to go up, right? So you can't be looking down and then not expect to fall down. So we've got to change the view. We've got to change the atmosphere. We've got to change the thinking, and we've got to begin to declare and decree and expect. Look, George, we bless babies. We bless books. We bless bikes. We bless buildings. Right?
Ships. We bless ships.
Ships.
Yeah.
Right. We bless ships. We pray for the football team before they go out. We pray for the boxers before they go out. Right.
There's a church right by Ford Field.
There is right by Ford Field.
There is a church right by Ford Field, but I don't think we've ever had a moment. And this is why I'm so glad, George, you're doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Today on the show, and you're here in town. I don't think we've ever had a moment, at least in my recollection, where the fans and the city of Detroit and people across the state of Michigan came together specifically to assault the curse, to do away with it.
Okay,
so what can you do, Pastor Dave?
Do you think that church would let the Lions use that as their locker room on Sunday? Hey, Pastor Dave, like Stoney said, how are we going to accomplish this? What is your plan of action?
All right. Well, one, George, I need you to meet me in my church. All right, and I need you to meet me tomorrow. And what we're going to do is we're going to get the band together. I hate to sound like the Blues Brothers, but we're going to get the band together. We got to have the music right, because music is very, very important to setting the atmosphere.
Forward down the field, the Lions theme fight song.
That hasn't worked very well, Stoney.
That's true.
Yeah.
We need some music that is spiritually charged to get people on the same page. We're gonna have the fans participate in an affirmation and a litany, right? We've got to change the way we talk about the Lions in the city of Detroit. And then look, hey, we're going to take these words of Bobby Layne, we're going to lay our hands on them, we're going to anoint them, and then we're going to set them afire while we declare and decree that the curse is over. The Lions will be victorious in the city of Detroit and the Detroit Lions. Blessed team, blessed city, blessed people. This is what we see in our future. Before it happens, you got to see it, George.
So, Pastor Dave, let me get this straight. So you are proposing that we we have an exorcism to remove the curse of the Detroit Lions?
I'm proposing that we have an exorcism to remove the curse and simultaneously have a blessing to bless the team and the city and the fans. I need you to bring that dirt from
Hallelujah!
Dome. I need you to bring that dirt with you, George.
Stoney, do you believe in what you're hearing? Do you feel the power of the word?
I feel the power of Pastor Dave.
Look,
Jamie, you don't look like you're feeling the power.
I feel the power. I feel the power.
It's the power of the word. It's the power of the fans, right?
Now,
it's the power of the believers in this team and in this city. Look, one thing about Detroit and the Lions that I do know is that Detroiters are resilient. We don't give up. We don't turn away from a fight. We don't back down. We believe that we're going to make it, even if we've got to stand our ground through the toughest time. We know we're coming out.
That's
and
true.
We're coming out victorious.
Very true.
All right,
Wow.
thanks, Dave.
Thank you so much, Pastor Dave. We're going to get your information, and I'll meet you in church tomorrow.
If you guys pull this off, I mean, when they have the parade,
I'm coming.
You're going to have your own float.
You and Pastor Dave will have your own float.
I'm
You know
into
that.
this. I'm into this.
You might be on the field with Stafford accepting the Vince Lombardi trophy at the end of the
Nothing
game.
would make me happier than to see the Detroit Lions hold up the Vince Lombardi trophy and to make millions of fans and millions of kids and parents and grandparents and grandsons of fans happy.
All right, we got one more segment. Do you want to stick around?
Absolutely.
Are you guys out of here?
No,
George
no,
Lopez is
I'm here.
Okay, George Lopez's show is very superstitious with George Lopez. He wants to lift the curse of Bobby Layne. It's Jamie and Stoney on 97.1 The Ticket. are joined in studio by George Lopez. He is going to be at Joe Louis Arena Saturday night, the Comedy Get Down Tour, along with Cedric the Entertainer, D.L. Hughley, and Eddie Griffin. But he's not here for that. He's here to lift the curse of Bobby Layne. Very Superstitious with George Lopez is the show. It'll be on A&E, and if you want to take part in the exorcism, email DetroitIsVerySuperstitious@gmail.com. Or call the number 818-392-4269. It will take place on Thursday. And, George, I don't presume to know that all stand-up comics who have had shows on ABC know each other, but you may know Tim Allen.
Yes.
Who's from Detroit.
Right.
He has suffered more than
He's got a
most.
mutual friend of ours who he calls every Sunday, without fail, at about 4:15 in the afternoon to say, what happened this time? Yeah. He's a huge Lions fan.
Well, I'm going to tell you that in the commercial break, we were talking about, like, I grew up a Dodgers fan. I love the Dodgers. In '84, I saw the Tigers play against the Angels. And now you got me thinking, and I'm truly now almost shocked to learn that in the World Series, Kirk Gibson hit a home run. The Tigers have not won since '84.
Yep.
He goes to the Dodgers, and he plays with us. And in '88, he hits a home run in the World Series against the A's. And we have not won in 29 years. So I'm going to tell you that right now. I didn't come in here for this. I came in here to help the Lions. But now I feel my soul has been blackened by the curse of Kurt Gibson on the Tigers and the Dodgers.
The curse of Gibby.
Thanks. I come in here for one. I'm trying to heal one curse. I'm walking out with another one.
Great. Yeah. Well, that's another show for you. We'll put you in touch with Gibby. You can lift the curse of Kirk Gibson.
I would love to do that, but Lions first.
All right, we got some callers who want to talk to you, talk about the Lions. Brian in Romulus, you're on with George Lopez, 97.1 The Ticket. Hey, Brian.
Hey, guys. How you doing? Love the show.
Thanks.
And big fan of yours, George.
Thank you, Brian.
Well, look, I wanted to start off. I love the conversation here because, quite frankly, I lived in Boston, Massachusetts when the Bambino curse was lifted.
Yes.
And I know you guys are talking about, if the Lions were to take it home one year, how crazy it would be. I'll tell you what, when the lift of the Bambino curse happened, I woke up to go to school the next day, and people were outside barbecuing still the next morning. And I woke up pretty early to make my way to school. And yeah, so the conversation really piqued my interest because I saw it firsthand, and I really thought it was just something quite amazing. And I just think, do you think it would really be that nuts around here?
Are you kidding?
Oh.
No question. But I'm also, Bill Buckner played with the Dodgers, and he was a great hitter, and he was a great defensive first baseman. And for him to say that what happened with the glove, it got bent in when he leaned down, which had never happened before, and then the ball went under his legs, that was a little bit, I believe, of the curse of the Bambino. But through perseverance and a good front office, probably, they've won a couple of times now.
Well, I was going to say, and they had to come back from 3-0 down. No team had ever done it.
Right.
So it's almost like it took something superhuman. Like I almost feel like the Lions will have to be down 27-3 in the fourth quarter, like Brady was against the Falcons this year in the Super Bowl.
Right.
That's what it's going to take. It's going to take something unbelievable for them to break the curse.
It would be amazing. I'm telling you, I can already picture myself in the stadium. I can always see the score changing, the fans going crazier, and the light. I think, now the Silverdome doesn't have a ceiling, but wherever that happens, when the Lions are playing, I believe that a sharp light will dawn on everybody that's in there.
Let's go to Ron
I
and
think I've had too much
Macomb
coffee.
on 97.1 The Ticket with George Lopez. Hey, Ron.
Hey, George, big fan.
Thanks.
I'm a little concerned for you right now. This is, I don't know how to say it. This is a lot like that mummy that was on a plane that crashed or that artifact that was on the Titanic that caused the Titanic to sink. I mean, you are attaching yourself to something that could really impact your career. And I don't know if you've thought this through. Are you going to be able to get through this if this connects itself to your livelihood?
Well, I'm going to tell you something right now. I did not until you said that. I believe that superstitions and bad luck can attract itself to somebody and to something. But, now looking at Bobby Layne's name, there are generations of kids who don't know who Bobby Layne is.
Correct.
Who only know of the curse.
Yeah, there's an entire generation right now who doesn't even know what a winning football team is. I mean, I grew up during the Barry Sanders years, and there are 20-somethings who believe that the Lions have lost forever.
Well, they have.
They have, but they've made those 20-somethings have seen the Lions in the playoffs 3 times since 2010.
With no wins.
I know.
Did Barry Sanders give a reason why he was leaving, or he just decided he didn't want to play anymore?
That was it.
He knew about the curse. He didn't want the rest of his life to go down the drain.
He never mentioned the curse itself, but it was very odd. He was basically saying, I just don't have the desire to play anymore. And usually when you're in the... Remember, Barry, too, was how many yards away from breaking the all-time rushing record?
He
was probably going to do it the next season, and he walked away then.
I think that was a complete connection to the curse.
Yeah. George, we got Scott the Gator Anderson here, longtime Lions fan, Doug Karsh as well. Thanks for being here. We want to mention quick again, Detroit is very superstitious at gmail.com, 818-392-4269. Gator, are you a curse? You're a big superstition guy.
I love superstitions. Absolutely.
Yeah, so he's here to lift the curse.
How are you going to do it?
They're going to meet a pastor tomorrow.
We're going to take
they're going to have an exorcism.
We're going to have an exorcism. We're going to take some dirt from the old stadium. We're going to take Bobby Layne's words, apparently, and we're going to have a exorcism ceremony.
If this works, you can run around this town with no pants for you.
I'll be the king.
No, Roger Goodell will hand the trophy to Martha Ford and George Lopez.
Yes.
He will be down there at the 50-yard line. That's exactly what it is.
All right.
Anything else you want to mention?
I'm good. That's it.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Don't forget, George will also be at the